Welcome to Naked Spirituality, a video blog series of sacred attention therapy and the Center for Human Awakening. My name is Rob Meager. For more information about sacred attention therapy, the Center for Human Awakening, and our video blog series, please visit our website at www.centerforhumanawakening.com, and center is spelled C-E-N-T-E-R. These video blogs are intended to be spontaneous, unscripted dialogues between myself and other participants of the Center Study Group, and today we invite back a dear soul friend of the Center. Her name is Lorna Bryant, and we'll be talking to Lorna about her contributions to the study group through Sanctuary with Eden, and I'd now like to invite Lorna to come on screen. Hello, beautiful Lorna.
Hello, beautiful Robert.
I mentioned when we connected prior to actually us recording the video blog today that there's this beautiful pink aura about you. It's there's these pillows in back of you, and then your skin is picking up this beautiful pink, and there's this whole hue of pink, which some might perhaps naturally associate with love. And I thought it was just so perfect because there was a passage I wanted to explore today,
Okay.
just short, but I thought very powerful. And the whole message is about love. So if it's okay with you, we'll look at that passage.
Of course, yeah.
So you begin with a quote that was overlaying a graphic, as you always share so beautifully in the study group. And the quote was the following: "She read so many romances and played out so many characters that she lost sight of her own true self. You cannot find love's divine truth in fairy tales. You are your own sacredly scripted novel with your own unique love story. Look within and read your own book." End quote. And then you go on with the following brief sharing. "Love is a divine mystery, but exploring it is irresistible because deep within our being, love calls to us in every moment of every day. It wants to be found in its purest form so that we may deeply understand its omnipresence and its divine nature. Love is the magical glue that holds the universe together and unites souls in its vast, immeasurable ocean." I'm just gonna
Love.
take a breath and let that sink in. It's so beautiful. There's something in particular in that I may want to come back to and reflect on with you, but I want to give you an opportunity to expand on anything that was shared in the study group in this particular teaching.
Yeah, I remember. I wrote that quote a while ago now. I don't know. Ever since I was a little girl, no matter what's happened, no matter what I've been through, what life, life's challenges and journeys, and there's just always been, as long as I can remember, this underlying everything and overshadowing everything, really. This feeling, which, I mean, there isn't, love is what everyone calls it, but of course, I don't think we have a word in the English language to describe what it is. And I think, sadly, love's become a word that's sort of used so commonly and in so many different ways that it perhaps we've forgotten what the original meaning of love was. As I mean, for me, it is the glue that holds everything together. It is the source energy, that mystery that we can't, the mystery, the unknown of where we came from and where we go back to. It's that energy. And I mean, the word love is a very lovely word, isn't it? It's a very open word with the love, la. When singing, when you sing open vowels like that, it's very open, and even that fact that it's got a circle, an O circle, so the circle of life, but encompassing everything. I think it is a good word, but it is just a word. And I think I try with a lot of the posts I write, especially the ones to do with love or source, as I put it. Some people would say God or whatever, but to express that immense, wonderful, indescribable presence. Really, I can't even call it an energy. It's far more subtle than that. It's far the kind of love I'm talking about is so in the writings I do, I try to evoke the feeling of it with words and the images. So, but it's something that just daily comes back to, especially in the hardest of times when you're struggling. It is, if you can just, and I know people, when I try to explain to people that this is there, it's always there. In fact, it's not just there, because there is a place. It's beyond there. It isn't a place. It's just, it pervades everything, imbues everything that is living. It's in every atom, in every cell, in every part of everything on this planet. And part of consciousness is love. And the sadness for me is when I can't, when I see out in the world that this is in everything and in everybody, and yet people can't, they lose hope, or they can't tap into it. They can't realize that they're living embodiments of love.
They are
love, walking around with flesh and blood, a body, a structure, and a label, a name, and they've developed a personality. But everything that's made that possible is from love, from consciousness. I mean, if we take love to mean the source of everything, we're not separate from it. And then I think what happens when we develop, and we do always, we have this divine, I believe we have this divine, this presence within us, around us, everywhere, pervading everything, even every thought, even not just the good thoughts about, even the pain we go through. There is love still in there. But it's how we interpret things that changes our understanding of love. And people cannot see love in people's suffering. They cannot see, when they're suffering, they can't see that there is still love there. In relationships, the word love is used, and it's manipulated to suit your version, your movie, your script, your story of what love should be like. And as much as I love fairy tales, and I grew up a real romantic. I mean, I am a romantic through and through, total hopeless romantic. Um, but the thing about, and people have always said to me, "Oh, Lorna, you're an idealist, and you don't live on this planet." And I'm like, no, no, I don't. Well, I do, but the thing about love is, it is the it is the perfect state. And I know that as human beings, we can't be perfect but we are perfect. I mean, there's a dichotomy there, if that's the right word, a sort of, we're perfectly perfect and perfectly imperfect at the same time, because obviously we do all write from the moment we're born. We start to write our own scripts, our own stories, our own books, and some people try to stick avidly to their initial novel, and others write different novels along the way, different scripts, introduce different characters, become different characters. I mean, that's the thing about, isn't it, that there's this immense presence, this immense love out there that actually is all embracing, all accepting, and it gives itself to us in human form. It allows us to become and experience life, and it gives us the choice to experience it in any way we want to, and to think any way we want to think, and to do anything we want to do, and it doesn't judge. It just allows, because it's allowing us to experience life in the way that we choose to experience life. And we can go along that road without ever thinking about what the true meaning of love is, or what, or being, or having awareness of the presence of it. We can go along that road and have a perfectly okay life. I mean, ups and downs, everybody. But it seems to me that if you can become more in touch, less in touch with your stories, and realize they are stories, realize that you are the creator of your entire life. And that's very hard for some people to understand, and that's perhaps something we should maybe talk about another time, because that takes onto a whole new,
Yes.
I've said that to people before, and they said, but what about what happens to children when they're little? And there's another whole big subject, but it's not unrelated. But the fact that we actually do. I mean, we come in and we immediately, if somebody starts writing it for us, perhaps initially, then we carry on writing and adding, but if we can realize that that's what we're doing, then when we suffer, when we come across things and we think they're bad, it's like, when you get engrossed in a book and you become, you're in the book so much that everything else disappears and your whole reality becomes that story. The same as a film or a movie maybe, or a show. And whilst you're in it, you're captivated by it, you're taken in by all the characters. In fact, I think the reason we get captivated is because parts of us, different parts of our own stories, our characters, we relate to in whatever we're reading or watching. If somebody comes along and shines a light on you, and you are taken momentarily out of the book or out of the movie, you can suddenly realize that you're watching something, you're not in it. And I think that the light of the presence and the light of love, of where we came from, is shining all the time. We can't see it because we've got our heads buried in our stories, in our books, in our fantasies about how life should be, how we want to make life. And there's nothing wrong with writing stories and fantasies and having them at all. You can play around, you can have a wonderful time. I have. I mean, I've been an actress and a singer and played many characters, and and it's fantastic, you know, to be able to become someone else, anybody you want to become. And that's wonderful while it's wonderful. But when the bad times, when the difficulties come, we don't want those, and we fail to see that we've also created those. Now, some people would be shouting right now, saying, "How can you say that I created this awful thing that happened to me?" And I've had to, this is something I've had to learn over a long period myself because of things that have happened to me. To understand that we are not separate from anything that happens to us. It's not being,
Yeah.
So this whole thing of writing your story, I think if you can become aware that everything you think, everything you write, everything you say, every feeling and thought you have is imbued with energy, and if you're careful to allow that immense love into everything that you do, it can add it can add a lightness to everything. It can still allow you to lead your life in every way you want, to play out any story you want, but underneath is always this sense of a kind of peace and clarity, and it helps if you really, really understand love. You understand the consequences of your actions. You understand that when you speak with love. When you act with love. When you write your story, write it with love, because actually it's your story, and not only will your story have ripple effect on other people, but it will affect you. So the love has to be there for you first. Because it's very hard to write a love story for yourself when you've been through an awful lot of adversity. But this is the understanding I'm trying to bring to people.
It's very difficult to write your love story when you don't realize it's a love story that you're writing.
Absolutely, yes.
And I want to circle back, if I may, to this beautiful connection you were sharing earlier about love and perfection, and the idea of we're not all perfect. And what it reminded me of was this beautiful teaching, which I'm going to try and paraphrase to put it in the context of what we're talking. But the teaching would say then something like, as teachers of love, which is what we are, as teachers of love, we're not perfect. But our role in this time and space is to practice perfection over and over and over again until we get it.
Yes.
And when we do, our job is done.
Yes.
In this time and space. But this whole journey is one of, actually, it's not even a returning. It's an awareness that we never left
in the first place.
Love
yes.
source in the first place. But
yes.
we went off on a bit of a detour.
Yes.
And that detour has led us along a path. And every step along the way has been our reminder to practice perfection again and again and again until, we remember, we remember.
And then the practicing ends, the searching ends. There's no journey, there's no path.
We stop trying.
You stop trying. It's effortless. You're there, and I think the problem with the word perfect is a lot of people think. I think we're talking in a kind of we're talking in a sort of spiritual perfection sense, in that we're talking about the perfection of love, in that doesn't mean to say that you will be the perfect person, that you will never make a mistake, or that you have to, every job you do, it will be, a success, and that if you make a mistake, you're not perfect. We're not talking about that kind of perfection, or at least I'm not. I mean, we're talking about the perfection of I think, imbuing love in everything we do, and then realizing, as you say, or just remembering suddenly, and not just for a fleeting moment, because you can have fleeting moments of remembering, then you forget again. But every time you have a moment is to sort of recognize that moment, and then the next time a moment comes, and then they'll come more and more and more. It is to, so that eventually you are literally just oozing it, wherever you go in life. It doesn't mean you're not going to make any mistakes. It doesn't mean you have to be. In fact, it takes away all competitiveness. It takes away all judgments, opinions. It takes away any pressure to be anything at all, except that perfect state of love. And it's not the romantic love we're talking about here, because you can't be perfect here. Whilst we're human beings, and we're still investing in our thoughts and our stories and our everything, like, we're not gonna be perfect lovers. But the thing in relationships is if you remember this love that we're talking about, when you're in a relationship, you will always be in that presence, and hopefully your partner, that's not, together you can be in that presence together, and so that whenever things do go a bit skewed, or there's bills to pay, or suddenly the bailiffs are at your door, or whatever, you've still got this love that's holding everything, and you don't suddenly feel like, oh, the universe has turned against me, everything bad happens to me. It's just, oh well, this is part of the human life, this is part of the physical life. It doesn't have to throw you off all the time. It's a constant in life. There's so many practices people can go through, so many religions, so many avenues to search for this, but actually we're searching for something that isn't lost. It's never been lost, and
that's why we can't find it.
And that's why we can't find it. And the harder you look, almost you push it away further. It's kind of like that. It's like the mind is looking for it, not the heart. The mind is looking for it, and even if it gets a moment or two, if you have a moment when you're completely, let's call it a moment of enlightenment or bliss or awareness of this love, the mind will, if you're not careful, in fact very quickly come in and go, hey, hang on, what about me? Look at this problem, look at this problem, look at this, to draw you away from it. The mind likes to be in control, because we like to feel safe. And the mind thinks it, can control everything. But the more that you hold on to those moments, and when the mind comes in to try and trip you up or pull you back, is just to let it try, but just let it try, but don't take any notice. Just, it's just trying to do what it's been programmed to do, what it's had to do to keep you surviving. But actually, you can survive this life, or you can live in love. You can love this life. I realise that it sounds very simplistic. And the thing is, though, it is simple. It's so simple, and try to talk to somebody who doesn't know, who hasn't got a clue about this, and they will laugh at me. They will laugh at me. They'll call me just like I live in the clouds. I live in dreamland, and no, I don't, because I've been through my fair share in my life too. But that presence, that love, if we call it love, has never left me. Maybe I'm lucky. Maybe I don't know, past lives or whatever, but maybe I was born and I didn't forget. But I've certainly had enough challenges to try and make me forget. And and every day now, more and more and more, maybe it's my age, maybe it's my age, I just feel it. Even when I'm sad, even when I'm desperately sad about something, it just is there. And there's a part of me that wants to just sing so loudly about it, and just, I feel if I didn't have a body, I would be a pink bubble. Yeah, I'd be a pink cloud. Maybe that's why I've got the pink cushions today. No, because how do you put this into words, Robert? It's but it's so beautiful. And I think if you can't talk to people about it, then all you do is you emanate it. When you smile, you emanate the love. When you hug them, you emanate the love. When they look in your eyes, you look at them with kindness and compassion and love. Because words won't always do it. I mean, words often don't do it. But
they often get in the way.
They get in the way so much. And I know I'm talking a lot to you, but that we're here to try and kind of explain it, aren't we? So the only thing I've got is words, unless I sang to you, which I could, of course. Maybe I will one day.
We'll do that one time.
Yeah, I'll sing a song. But there is something very freeing in stopping talking and just letting it flow from you, in whether it's in a touch, in a holding of a hand, an embrace, a smile. Do you know what difference a smile makes to people? And I walk around the streets and see everybody looking at the ground, or I'll smile at everyone I see, and people look at you as if you've gone crazy.
Sometimes,
not always.
Sometimes they'll smile back.
Oh, sometimes they will. Yes, that's not to be obviously discounted, but on the whole, and I think Britain is Britain. Don't forget, we're in the UK. I'm in the UK over here. We have that that war mentality, stiff upper lip, don't smile, don't open up, keep it all together. And that puts up a lot of barriers, but I keep on smiling. And, there's been times I've smiled at people, or I've given an old lady a hug because she looks lonely, and they come alive and they thank you, and you can see that you've just brought some light. And when you said about keep practicing perfection, that's what I would say is it doesn't have to be amazing things. We're one. We have one body per person, so we can only do so much. And I think the best thing you can do is just wherever you go, whatever you do, whatever you say. Even when your thoughts come along and try to ruin it, imbue them. Let that presence, just pass over those thoughts and soften them. And the more you practice it, the more it just becomes a natural way of being. Yeah. It's not magic. It's not rocket science. It's totally natural to us. It's the most natural thing.
Sprinkle the stardust.
Yes, I wrote a post about that too. You've probably read it, but it was a little tiny story, and it's just like every time you meet someone, it was about just that very thing, seeing people walking by, sad faces, not looking at each other, not even recognizing that we all come from the same place, the same source. We're all connected, moving about our business as if we're all separate. Not caring, I'm not saying everybody, of course. But if you can't connect in any other way, just every time you touch someone's life, just a bit of stardust, which of course is love, in their hand, and let magic do the rest. That, I think that was the line. Let the magic do the rest. Um, and just keep doing it. I mean, and don't look for results, because love doesn't look for results. It just loves. Love is love.
Because we know that when we give it, it comes back. And it's interesting because love is the only thing, once we have it, all we want to do
Is love.
is give it away. Because we know that in order to have it, we have to give it away.
Well, you can't not. You can't
exactly.
not.
It's all. That's all we want to do is extend it. It's all we want to do is give it away.
Of course. I mean, it's such a wonderful feeling. I mean, not feeling isn't the right word. It's such an amazing presence.
State of being.
State of being is the close. I guess that's the closest. Although it's not even a state, is it really? But if we put it into words,
exactly.
State of being is a good.
Yeah.
When you are full of it, it's so. It's so big. I mean, it's just like it pours out of your skin. It pours out of you. So.
Yeah.
Yes, you just want to give it away. And I mean, you don't actually think, I'm going to love this person and wait for the return. That doesn't cross your mind. But it comes back to you, and not always in ways that you think it might. And sometimes we miss that, you know. Some people give love and then they say, oh, I don't expect anything back. But actually deep in the back of their mind, they're kind of expecting a certain but you've got to be aware that, as we said before, that love is in everything. And sometimes, even if something comes back to you that you can't see as love initially, if you just hold on in there and see it through without panicking, without running, without searching for something else, if you stay with it, ultimately, there's always a bigger picture that evolves out of that. There's always something, and if it's real love that's being given to you, or if you're giving out real love, it can only come back to you, because whatever we put out there comes back to us, exactly. In some form or another, because it's all energy. So I just think it's the easiest thing to do. I know a lot of people don't, but when you get it, you don't look back. I mean, you can't ever imagine it not being aware of it. It doesn't mean that suddenly your life is all perfect and everything, goes hunky-dory, because you can't control what everybody else is doing with their thoughts and feelings, of course, and that has an impact. But you can stay steady and full and empty at the same time in that presence of love. It can be there in every moment of every day, and it can just enrich your life so much. And people notice, they do. They notice something. They don't always know what it is. Some people might say, there's something about you, or there's some kind of lightness about you, or I feel better when I'm around you, or there's a warmth and I feel relaxed. And it doesn't matter, as long as it's, whatever they're feeling is they're picking it up, and that's the main thing. They're tuning into their own love, and that's, I think, a great thing to do for people.
Wonderful place to leave it, Lorna.
I was just thinking, the very first time we had our first conversation on here, I remember at the very end talking about pink love. And I thought at the end, I shouldn't have said that. I sound like a real old hippie, But, the heart chakra is either seen as green or pink energy. And it's funny because I've got green on today, which I don't wear a lot. And
green and
pink cushions And a green top.
There we are.
Meant to be.
Until next time, Lorna, thanks so much.
Oh, bless you. It's been lovely again. That's all. Bye-bye, Robert.
Bye-bye.
Oh, have a lovely day.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.